Hey guys, Dr. Greg here. In this video, we're going to talk about coffee enemas. Now, when people hear about coffee enemas, not everyone's excited to get going on those, and I get it. The goal of this video is to talk to you about what do you need, how do you do it, and why would you even want to consider doing a coffee enema. One of the keystones of what we talk about in our practice is something called drainage. And when you think of drainage, essentially what it is, it's how things are designed to get out of your body. And some of those are obvious, right? We have our colon, we have our bladder. Some of those are obvious. Our liver, though, is one of the drainage organs. I've for years called it the most overworked, underpaid organ inside of the body. I'm actually formally trained in something called the Gershon cancer method, and coffee enemas were made famous by Max Gershon back in the 1920s, so these have been around for a long time. All right, so what do you need? So first off, I have a French press. I have a water kettle to boil my water. I have coffee bean that is specifically roasted for enema coffee. This is not coffee that you would drink. It's an ultra light roast. It's organic, it's mold free, it's pesticide free. It's the purest of coffee that you can get. You need some type of lubrication, so I have organic coconut oil here, and then the actual coffee enema kit itself, which has a tub, it has the tubing, and then a couple different options for the tips. So those are the tools that you need to get going. All right, let's talk about how to brew your enema coffee. So again, you've got your kettle, you've got your bean, you've got your French press. You always want to start low and slow. And we have to make the assumption that you're working with a health coach or a health professional inside of this. And if you need to do more of that, you do that with them. This is not a do-it-yourself journey, you guys. So I like to start people at 1 or maybe 2 cups at the most to get going. So the ratio of water to coffee bean is for every cup of water, we use 1 tablespoon of coffee beans. So let's say that we were going to start with our 1 cup option. We would put 1 cup of hot water and 1 tablespoon of bean into our French press. What needs to happen next then is it has to steep. It has to actually, the water has to be able to pull the chemicals, the caffeine and the caprylic acid from the enema coffee, because that's actually what works inside of your body. So it has to steep for at least 10 minutes. Now, fair warning, after 10 minutes, it will not be cooled down enough. So the way to know if the coffee is an appropriate temperature for the administration of a coffee enema is the finger test. So if you put your finger into it and it feels warm, it's too warm to be put in your body. So if you put it in and it doesn't feel warm or cold, we call that body temperature. So please, my goodness, do not put warm coffee up your butt. Okay, now that we got that squared away, so you let it steep for at least 10 minutes, and it's going to take longer for it to get to room temperature. Once it's at room temperature, you would then press the coffee down. So you'd put your top onto your French press, and then you would press it all the way down. What that press does is it pushes the bean down. You must separate the coffee from the bean before you do the enema. Yes, I've had patients over the years that didn't do that, and it will plug up the tube of the distribution. So you press that, and now you're ready to grab your kit and go to the next step. All right, now you have your coffee at an appropriate temperature. You've got it pressed down, and now you're going to pull your enema kit out of the box and get ready to go. So you have the stainless kit itself. You have about 6 feet of tubing, and then they come with several different tips. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is notice on the tubing, there's some type of a device, whether it's a pinch or sometimes they have a valve. This is designed to stop the liquid. So please, before you put anything in here, make sure that things won't just flow right out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the other end of the tubing and we're going to slide it onto the tip of our enema canister. We're then going to choose whichever tip we feel appropriate. You can use a longer tip or a shorter tip. It's kind of a personal preference. You can try both ones and see which one works best for you. You'll apply that to the end of the tubing, and then you will pinch down to stop all, and you're going to want this kind of as close to the end as you can. You're going to pinch down so that nothing will come out of this. The next thing that you're going to do then is you're going to take your appropriate body temperature coffee and you're going to pour it into your enema bucket, okay? So now the coffee's in the kit, you've got your tube is pinched and you've got the right tip on, And now the next step is we'll talk about the administration. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. So you've got your kit with the Enema coffee in it, and now we want to have some form of lubrication. So this is organic coconut oil. 2 places that I will put this before I administer. But first, where's the best place to do this? So some people are like, oh my gosh, like what could happen? What could possibly go wrong with this? I get it. So what I might recommend is, let's say that you have like a walk-in shower that is big enough that you could lay down in it, or a bathtub or something like that. Most people, once you get comfortable, would just do it like in your bathroom on the floor. But find some place, because there can be a few dribbles. It's pretty uncommon to have a mess. Okay, so you've got your things, you're at your place that you're gonna do the administration. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take the tip that's gonna go in your bum, and you're gonna take just a little bit of coconut oil and you're gonna put it around the tip of that. The second place that you're gonna put a little bit of the coconut oil is on your bum, just to make sure that there's no, it doesn't scar or doesn't hurt. It's easier to use from that standpoint. Okay, so what you're gonna do then, and there's a couple ways that you can use the tubing. Some people like to put the tubing in when they're standing, which is perfectly fine. Some people actually like to lay down before they put the tubing in. Completely up to you. Try both ways, see what's easier for you. I'll talk through both of them. So the Enema bucket is on like your bathroom sink or the bench inside your shower, and you will essentially reach behind your body and administer the tip. And by the way, it only goes up into you as far as this. Do not put it up any further. There's no need. What you're going to then do if you're standing up is you're going to want to make sure that you don't pull the Enema kit off of the counter or pull it off the shelf. So very slowly, very easily go down, and you're going to lay on your right side. And that's actually really important for 2 reasons. We lay on our right side because our colon, our large intestine, actually comes down on our left side. So if we're laying on our right side, the fluid can more easily flow into our large intestine. The second reason is our liver actually sits on our right side, and we want our liver to be kind of supported by the ground and kind of hugged by the ground so it can do its work during the enema. So if you're standing up, you'll insert the tube and you'll very gingerly come down and lay on your right side. And if you choose to lay down, you will then kind of bring your knees up to your chest, and then you will reach around and insert the tubing into your body. Okay, so the tubing's in, and now it's time to actually administer the coffee enema. So the first thing that you need to do once it's inside of you is you need to open up the release. Now, one thing I'll tell you, a little pro tip here, is if the coffee hasn't flowed down the tube, when you open this up, you're going to get a bunch of air into your body, and the air can be uncomfortable. So one thing that you can do before you open the tip or before you even get close to administering is you can open this up and let the coffee flow all the way up to the plastic stop part of it. So you're on your side, you can reach back, and it's just simply just pull that back, or you turn the knob, and the coffee will start to flow inside of your system. Either you'll have all the coffee from the tube go into your body, or your body will say, that's enough. Trust your body. You've probably never done this before. Slow and low always wins. Now, if you also notice, the part where the coffee comes out on the tank is actually up a little bit. So sometimes when I do my coffee enemas, and yes, I do coffee enemas, I will actually lift this up and I will tip the tub so that all of the coffee can come out of the tube itself. Okay, so the coffee's in you, and now what do? So first off, you can reach behind you and you can just pinch this thing off, and there's a couple things you can do here. If you're a beginner, I actually might recommend that you just lay there. Don't even pull the tube up, because sometimes when you pull that tube out, your body gets the urge to get rid of stuff, and that is not always a fun experience. So if you're a beginner, just sit there, and there is no magic number. I need to tell you that. There's no magic number for this. If it's 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 minutes, fantastic. That's perfect. Your body's getting the benefit. Now, what are you doing during that 2, 3, 5, 10-minute session? Well, I'll tell you what you're not doing. You're not surfing social media on your phone. You're not typing emails to your workmates. You're not doing anything but being still, having quiet time, doing some breath work, allowing your body to actually benefit from what this is designed to do. Stack the deck on your side. Once you become more advanced in doing coffee enemas, you can many times after the fluid's in, many times you can pull it out, and then just lay there. Just allow yourself to take in the healing benefits of the coffee enema. So why do we even do coffee enemas? Again, like I stated, the liver is a drainage organ in your body that needs help. And it's a tool that, and obviously it doesn't have its own hole, right? People don't have an opening in their rib cage. Your liver actually dumps into your intestines in 2 different spots. So the coffee enema does 3 main things, maybe more than that, inside of your body. The first thing, when you put coffee enema into your colon, what you need to understand is, so your liver sits underneath your right rib cage. There is a vein called your hepatobiliary vein, fancy for liver gallbladder. And then it goes down to the left, and once it hits about your belly button, it turns into what's called your hemorrhoid vein. And then your hemorrhoid vein actually connects to your large intestine about 3 to 5 inches before the exit spot. So enema coffee has 2 chemicals in it that are beneficial for you. The first one is caffeine. Now, some of you just heard the word caffeine and you're like, no way, I am so caffeine sensitive that if I put caffeine up my butt, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to me? Now, what I can tell you is I've had thousands and thousands of patients do coffee enemas, and I've never had a highly caffeine sensitive person have any side effects from it. Now, you could be the first, that's a possibility, but just put that at rest a bit if you can. The second component is something called caprylic acid. It's just another chemical that comes inside of coffee. Going back to caffeine for a second, why we use ultra light roast coffee is the lighter the roast of the coffee, the higher the caffeine content. Okay, so remember that hemorrhoid vein is in your large intestine, so when you put caffeine and caprylic acid in the presence of the hemorrhoid vein, some magical things happen. Number 1, way up by your liver, you have this thing called a cystic duct. I know, fancy term. Think of it like your trap door on your liver. Well, when you put those chemicals in the presence of the hemorrhoid vein, that message actually comes up the hemorrhoid to the hepatobiliary vein and opens up that trap door, which allows the liver to help with its detoxification pathways. The second thing is it increases a very potent antioxidant. There was a piece of research that showed that coffee enemas increase something called glutathione S-transferase by 600%. That's amazing, by the way. And then lastly, coffee enemas can help people with the dumping of the intestine. It helps with something called bowel motility, which is your body's ability to get things through the intestinal tract. So coffee enemas, most people after they do one, they're like, oh my gosh, it wasn't a big deal. I kind of freaked out about it. And oh my word, I feel amazing from doing it. So, and again, I also need to say, you don't have to do coffee enemas to get well. It's a tool. And our goal in our clinic is to put tools into your toolbox so that you can be educated and empowered.